fret friends, you'll love this. That's a bit of a joke, by the way, because it's Christmas Eve. You'll love this. Right, what we got here today? That guitar you was listening to just there, what a fantastic sounding guitar this is. And it's another one of Drew's. You remember I did one of Drew's yesterday, which was a Sinister Gates standard built by Schecter. This is, now, you know what it is. You know it's a BC Rich. Surely it's a BC Rich. Absolutely. It's a BC Rich Warlock. Reverse headstock, all in black, white. What do you call that gubbins here? I forgot. Totally slipped my mind. This guitar, in the 80s when I first saw this guitar, I would have done anything to get one. I wouldn't have one now, it's totally not my shape. But this white stuff's called binding, by the way, white binding. What a great looking guitar. And this is about as good as it gets with a BC Rich Warlock. It is the neck through design with a reverse headstock. EMG, I imagine 81 and 85 active pickups, and a real Floyd Rose. So you don't really get better than that. It's the top of, it's the best of everything on this. Surprised to see, the only way it's got Grover tuners as well, by the way. The only way this could be better would be if this was a handmade American one, but it's not. It was made in Korea. What a fabulous guitar it is to play. And I've just played it and it sounds amazing. It feels great. So you're saying, why is it in your workshop? Well, it's in my workshop because it needs a setup. Also, I would say that's an Ebony fingerboard. It's the best of the best. May not be your cup of tea shape wise. It's not. I mean, it's a nice looking thing, but it's not really my shape anymore. I don't really play guitars like this. But it's coming because, one, the tremolo is sinking. You see, it's not level, it's not floating because it's not set up right. So it's coming for a setup. And I've scooted across this with a fret rocker, and I don't think any frets need leveling, and the electrics all seem perfect and fine. So I think this is just going to have a standard setup, which is going to set you back 50 sheets, which is cheap. So it's going to have everything done, complete setup, but I will be charging the extra £10 for the Floyd Rose on this. And it's having new strings. Strings being, these are what Drew uses because he tunes to D standard. I recommend this gauge. 1148s, Power Slinkers by Ernie Ball. You have good USA strings, so I'm going to stick those on it as well. So it's having a full bit bar, doesn't need any fretwork that I can think of, what I've noted. I will strip and rebuild the tremolo. It's a bit dusty in there. We'll give it all a good clean. We'll check all the connections, check everything's right. We'll give it a complete setup, make sure the neck's right, the action's right. Action's really quite low on this. So really quite a simple setup for me. And but what a great guitar. You know, you just heard me play it, it sounds amazing. So I can't really fault this guitar anyway, apart from the shape and it being dark a bit. I mean, a Warlock, you know, it's really not me. But I can't fault how well it plays and how good it looks. You know, so I'm going to crack on with this. A good couple of 3 hours in here. I say 2.5 hours for something like this. If I, you know, and that's taking me time. A good couple of hours in this. Good looking thing. I'm sure Drew, the owner, is really proud of this guitar. Oh look, that's just, there's also hardly any marks on this. A great guitar. I know it's his favourite, I'm not sure it's his favourite guitar, but I know it's the only guitar he really uses a Floyd Rose on. And the good thing about it is an original, proper, official Floyd Rose. It's not a copy, it's not a Floyd Rose special, so you can't really get better than that. So I'm going to crack on with the work. And I will come back whenever it may be, sometime later today with an update. Stay tuned. So, on closer inspection with the neck straight, which we checked with the notched straight edge, I'll show you how we do that in a minute because I'm going to move the camera. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets that need attention. That means we've got high spots on each of those frets, which is 7 frets. I include 5 frets free in an intensive setup. But in this instance, again, I'm not going to charge extra for the extra 2 frets. I'm going to include it in the intensive setup. Reason being, even though these frets are high, some of them we're only a little bit high. We are an nth of a millimetre, and it's not going to need that much work. And it's something I can do by hand with just a flat file. It's or a 3-edge file. It's something I can do by hand without having to strap the old guitar up on the neck jig and level everything. Normally I say if you need more than 5 frets leveling, then you're going to need a more expensive job done. You're going to need an actual fret level, which it starts at 85 quid, then you've got a bit of a setup on top. But I'm going to include this in the intensive setup just to keep the prices down. And I already said to Drew before he bought his guitars, I says, look, if both guitars need an intensive setup, I will waiver the charge, the extra £10 charge for setting up the Floyd Rose on both guitars. So that is already saving him £20 off a total. So I will be charging him with 2 intensive setups and for 1 set of strings. But like I say, saving him 20 quid. And chances are I'll drop these back round to him anyway rather than let him come and collect them. He's a real nice guy. And I don't mind doing that because I've got to nip to Nottingham anyway at some point. So I think I'm going to do that. But what I'm going to do now is, first I'm going to show you the 7 frets. I'll point them out to you, ones that need doing. This one here, which will be the 16th fret. Then you've got the 11th, 10th, 9th, 7th, 5th and 4th. And I'll show you where, if I bring this to you, you'll see them all marked up in black pen. And all the areas with black pen on there, I should have used a better colour really. All the frets which have got black pen on them need some attention. Now I'm going to, you know, normally I just say take my word for it, but as today's today, some people, you know, some odd people say, why should we take your word for it? You know, show us. You know, really spiteful, weird people like that. So what I'm going to do is today, I'm going to show you. And I'm going to move the camera around, I'm going to go show you the not straight edge on the neck, to show that the neck's straight, but I'm going to go across with a fret rocker and you are going to listen to and hear the rock. I'll explain how that works. What we do is we've got 4 different edges on here, and that enables us to go across 3 frets at a time, and the closer we get to the body of the guitar, we will end up doing it on this one because they get progressively closer together. And what we do is do 3 at a time, and if it rocks, when we do 3 at a time, it means the middle one is high, and we go along the whole fingerboard, changing the side we use till we get shorter and shorter. So now I've explained that, I won't have to explain it again. So I'm going to turn the I'm going to move the camera, I'm going to point it at the guitar, and I'm going to go across the whole fingerboard with the fret rocker, showing you which ones need adjustment and which will also correspond to where I've marked each fret with the pen. Victor Christian, don't tell lies. And here we are, without any faffing about, and I'll try not to get in the way of the camera. It's quite difficult to do at this angle, but there's a not straight edge that goes over each fret, and we can see that the neck is straight. There's a tiniest little bit of relief under there, but that is not going to make any difference because that's the playing position anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the not straight edge, and I'm going to go 3 frets at a time. And I'll tell you where we've got high fret, because you'll hear a rock. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there in the middle, but you come to this side. There you go, can you hear that? This area marked in black here is high. Again with this fret, from ear to ear, marked with the pen is high, and I'll prove it. Right up to here, it finishes there, nothing. So you've got 2 already. This one's fine. Again, this fret from this edge to here is high. I'll prove it, 3 frets at a time. There you go, right up to here. Here it's fine. That's 3 frets already. This one's fine. This fret, this edge and this edge are high, but the middle's fine. If we go to the centre, fine. This edge, quite high there. Very high there. And here, high. This fret, the middle's high, but the 2 edges are fine. Edges fine, lot. And this fret, this is all fine. This side, middle, but you go to the outer edge, fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets need attention. Then again, all these ones coming up here, the next 4 are fine. All level, till we get to this one. That end is fine and this bit's fine, it's just this little bit here. There you go, edge is fine, and this edge is fine. And that's it, and all the rest of the frets are fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets need attention. Now there's not a lot of height difference in there, but but it does make a difference to your playing because we have an action low and a more straight neck. You get one high fret, it's going to cause fret buzz somewhere else. So we do get them all level. It's something I'm meticulous on when it comes to, because I'm a neck and fret specialist. It's what I concentrate on, what I specialise in, because there's no more important part of a guitar than your neck. If your neck is straight, the truss rod works, right, then the guitar has a potential to be an amazing guitar. But if your neck is not straight and your truss rod doesn't work, you can't alter the straightness of the neck. It means your guitar will never ever be an exceptional guitar. It might be passable. The neck is the most important piece of a guitar because anything else can be changed, swapped, replaced or whatever, but if a neck's not right, the guitar's not right. It's the way it always is. It's why I specifically concentrate on necks. After the neck and the truss rod, the most important parts for me are the frets. The frets need to be level. There's no point having a straight neck with unlevel frets. There's no point having a bent neck and levelling off just on the frets. The neck has to be straight and the frets have to be level, and that's it. So I concentrate on necks and frets because it's where the importance is. If that's right, the guitar is going to be right, no problem. So that's that. I've shown you that. I'm now going to crack on with the work. I'm going to protect this area with, I've got some chamois, some leather, which I'll cover this area with for when I'm filing this area, because we don't want to dig a file in. I'm going to do this with 2 hand files. I'm going to go with my 3-edge file just to flatten where I need to flatten. I'm going to go with my crowning file just to put that, where I flatten a fret, I'm going to put that crown back in. I'm going to do it all by hand because I don't need to remove a lot of material. I know I'm steady enough to not have to cover these, cover the fingerboard, because I'm not going to go in at angles and I'm not going to go in like a bull in a china shot. I'll take my time. I have enough experience to know that I can do this without taping up the fingerboard. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get these 7 frets done. Once that's done, I will mineral oil the fingerboard, let that soak in, get the grime out. This is Ebony, by the way, so it'll take a while to soak in, but we'll clean it all up nice. Once that's done, I will polish the frets. And when that's done, we can look at getting the guitar all set up again. So my time is going to be spent on this neck for the next hour or so. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on with it and I'll come back with an update soon. Right, so this is about the best angle I can get you to show you how I level these frets. And I've done 6 of the 7 and there's one left. And I've left quite a high one, which is this one being the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, number 7. Now number 9 was very high. And number 7 is also very high, and I'm going to prove that by just going across with a fret rocker, and you can listen all across where this black line is here, but here it's fine. All the other frets have been done, we're all level with each other, but I'm going to show you, even though I've shown this many times before, I'm going to show you how I level frets. And I've got my 3-edged file here. This is a new one. Normally I've got an equilateral triangle one, but this is different. It's got one flat base, completely flat, and I've got these 2 edges here. Absolutely brilliant. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the height I need to remove with the flat blade. And then I could normally put the arc back in or the curve back in or what we call the crown back in by using these edges and rolling over as I do it. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to use my crowning file. And this has 2 edges and it's a fine cutting file. It's a great file. It's one of my favourites. But I don't use it all that much because I prefer to recrown by hand using this file. So it's a lot more skill, but it's what I use because I've always used that anyway. But in this instance, I'm going to use this. I've got 3mm side, 2.5mm side. I'll clean both files. And what I'm first going to do is I'm going to take off this black area till we get this fret level. You can hear it rocking there and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the file. This is a fine cut file. It's like a Swiss number 3 file. Great cut. Really good file. And first I'm going to take off the height, but I'm going to do gradual slow strokes. I'm not using any tape on the fingerboard because I know I've got a steady hand to do this, and it's what I do. And all I'm going to do is just feel the fret. And I can feel it, and all I need to do is just stroke over that fret. And I can feel if it curves right or not because I've done this so many times. And I'm just slightly arcing the file as I go over. Now I've got a load of burrs in there from the file with stuff which I removed, so we always clean the file. Very important. Shake the cloth, clean the file, feel fine. And again, we're just gonna, that feels really smooth now. And we're gonna check again. Still high, fine there, fine everywhere now, just except right on this edge. So all I need to do now is, again, file, and that should be enough. 3, 6, 7, let's have a feel, and that is level. We've now got it level, we've now flattened it. We're going to put that crown back in. But what we're going to do first is, because number 7 done, we're going to check how that has reacted to fret 6 and 8, and we're going to check these 3 this side and these 3 this side, and see if changing this has altered this or this in relation to the other frets. And no, it hasn't on there, and no, it hasn't there, which proves that just that fret was high, these 2 were fine. So all the frets are now level across the whole fingerboard. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put a thin black line on there just to show you. Excuse me. 3, 6, 7. We're going to recrown it. And I could do this by hand, using this file and these edges and just coming across and just rolling over, and we'll thin that line. But because I might score the fingerboard doing that, I'm going to actually use this file. Got 3mm side there, 2.5mm side there, and all we're going to do is gently just go across and recrown this fret. You'll see a few burrs that will come off there. Again, wiping the file. Now we're going to go with the 2.5mm side just to put that crown back in. And that fret is now done. If I just zoom in, when I find my, I can't zoom in because I can't find my remote control. I don't know what I've done with it. You know, it's one of the things you could put down and you won't see it again for an hour or 2. It's not there, I expect it to be there. There it is. This is the one we've just done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I just zoom in, apologies for my wife's hair dryer there, you can probably hear. You'll see a few specks that will just come off there, but that is now really smooth and rounded again. So all we're going to do is brush that off, and that's that done. Apologies again for the hair dryer. I should have shut the door, but I didn't. All I'm going to do now is take a little bit of steel wool. I'm going to start to polish these threads, 3, 6, 7. But also I'm going to move any lines we've got there with the file. I'm just going to buff out like so. And that's it. And there you go. And when it comes to polishing these frets, I will not be doing it unmasked. I'll use this, a little guard, a little fret guard. Just a little fret guard there. And then we can polish the frets without putting lines in the fingerboard, like so. And this is just now for doing the final polishing on the fret. I've shown it many times in many videos. Sorry if my hand's in the way, can't do it without really. And there you go, that fret is done. Absolutely beautiful, it feels really smooth, it's got nicely rounded again. All the frets are now level, all the frets are now going to be polished. So what I'm going to do is, by the way, don't just use that one, I use that one for the frets at this end. I've got a thicker one for down this end, so we don't scuff or mark the fingerboard. Got a little bit of a mark on there, but like I say, we'll buff that out. But before I can do the polishing, I'm going to have to spray the fretboard with mineral oil. I'm going to let it soak in for 30 minutes because this is ebony. Ebony is really hard. It takes longer for this to soak in, but what it does is all the gunk on there will rise up. I'll be able to wipe it off and then I'll be able to polish, get some into the wood, because it not only cleans, it also nourishes and feeds the wood. Something we should do once a year with mineral oil. A good recommended mineral oil, especially formulated for fingerboards. It will say lemon oil on it. It's not lemon oil. Lemon oil will rip your wood to pieces. It's mineral oil formulated for ebony and rosewood. We call it lemon oil because we put a hint of lemon juice in there just to make it smell nice. It is not lemon oil. It's specially formulated mineral oil for guitar necks. So there you go. I learned something there. I'm going to crack on. I'm going to spray the fingerboard like I said. I'm going to let it soak and I get it all cleaned up, and I'm going to polish the frets. I will come back when we are ready for putting on the Floyd Rose, and I'll show you how we go about that. Welcome back, and we're at that stage now where we're going to start setting. Well, we're ready now to put the Floyd Rose. Well, the Floyd Rose is back on the guitar, and we're going to start setting up the Floyd Rose, and we're going to put the strings on and get the guitar set up. We're also in a time of the year where it's we're at that odd 5 days between like Boxing Day or Christmas and New Year. That 5 days where do them days even count? Are we 360 days a year? I'm not sure. But anyway, we're at that time. So I'm going to show how I level off the tremolo and block it off ready for stringing it. And there's quite a few ways you can do this. And in the past I've used a screwdriver between the tremolo and the guitar body just to trap it in a level position. But I don't do that anymore. I'm actually now using a steel rule. Well, I'd say a 6-inch steel rule. It's not a 6-inch steel rule, it's the end of a long steel rule. And what I do is I'll get the tremolo in position and I'll put the springs on and tighten up the claws a little, and then what I'll do is I'll get some business cards and place them between the tremolo and the steel rule. So we've got the tremolo sitting more or less perfectly level. I could stick another business card in there, but for setting it up we're fine. So it's really quite, just a little bit under level. It's no big deal, we can alter that when we've got strings on and everything, blah blah blah. So the tremolo is not going to go anywhere. It's on the pivots, and you'll see we've got the fine tuners adjusted right in the middle. So we're now ready to put the strings on. And what I do is I suggest we tighten these springs as much as we want to, because then when we get the strings on and tighten them up to pitch, there's enough pressure on that claw spring, that claw at the back, the spring claw at the back. It's not going to lift the tremolo up when we tune it in. So it means we're going to get it in tune with that tremolo absolutely level. And once we've got it in tune and we stretch the strings, then all we do is we'll remove the steel rule and the business cards, and the tremolo's going to tilt back. And what we do is we just loosen the springs till it's level again. And once it's level, we'll play the A string. And if the A string's in tune, all the rest are going to be in tune. And it means the tremolo is going to be perfectly level with all the strings in tune, and then we can look at clamping them down. But I'll explain more about that later, or I'll explain what I've done when I've got it done. So where I am at the moment, I'm now ready to put on the strings, and we are going with power slinkers, which are the same strings I put on the other guitar of Drew's, on the Schecter Sinister Gates jobby there. These are 1148s. We're going to tune to D standard, so we're dropping 2 semitones, so we're going with a slightly heavier string. I recommended he use this gauge of string for a standard D tuning. He'd bought a set over with something like a 1260. I says, it's whatever. You're going to be going drop A or B standard with them. So we're going with these. These are perfect for this. I've already got them on the other guitar. They sound fantastic. Guitar sounds fantastic. So like I say, we're now ready to put the strings on and set up the Floyd Rose. We've done previously to this, or prior to this, we have leveled 7 frets, which you saw in my last part of the video. I've now got them all polished. The fingerboard's been oiled, cleaned with lemon oil, and we're going to move on. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on, because I've got guitars in line, all queued up, ready to work on. So like I said, I'm going to crack on with this, and I will come back most likely when I've got the setup done. So stay tuned, and I'll see you shortly. And here we are, and it's just getting around to about that time of the day where it's just getting a little bit cold now, so I'm kind of ready for packing up. Beginning of the year. I don't want to be doing a lot this week. I wasn't going to be working anyway till next week, but caught up on a few. And there it is, all set up. What a stunning looking guitar if you're into that sort of thing. Even if you're not into this sort of thing, it's a stunning looking guitar with the binding, the black, the set neck or the neck through design. EMG Active 81 and 85 pickups, original real Floyd Rose, Grover tuners. What more can I tell you about this guitar? It's got the best of everything on it, and it beautiful inlay work to the all around the body, all around the neck. Very reminiscent of my PV Explorer, my Korea made one. This was also made in Korea. I would imagine made at the same factory, because my PV Explorer's got the same inlays as all this, mother of pearl inlay all the way around. All the way around the neck, all the way around the headstock, all the way around the body. It's exactly the same as on my PV. So I'd imagine these are made at the same factory, whatever factory that may be. We've got the Floyd Rose floating absolutely level. Let me just show you there. I've shown how to set up Floyd Roses on quite a few videos, so you can go back and check that. I was not going to do a lot on here, but I've set it up to my normal standard. And everything's been done on this. The action's right, the neck set not super straight, got a little bit of relief in there. Oh, an Ebony fingerboard on this as well. Guitar plays beautiful. I've got it all tuned to D. It had Ernie Ball 12, whatever, 1048s on there. Can't remember what they're called, but that's it. It's all ready to go. So I've been in touch with Drew, told him his guitars are ready to go back. And so I'm going to move on to something else. Like I say, stunning guitar. Just getting a little wipe there. Beautiful. This will be, you'll be really pleased with this. The electrics are all fine. So the complete setup. So I've not charged for the Floyd Rose setups on both his guitars. So he's saved himself 15 quid per guitar there. I think I charged £15 extra or £10 extra on top for Floyd. I've not charged for either of the Floyd setups. He saved himself 20 quid. And that's it. So until the next project, what have I done with that? I do this all the time. I'll just take this chance to wish you all a Happy New Year. And as always, till the next project, be good to each other, and I'll talk to you soon.